Hello, 1E parents. I'm Julie Reinhardt, and in case we haven't met, I am your child's first grade teacher this year. I would like to take this opportunity to share a little bit about our classroom, a little bit about myself and Mrs. Edmondson, our teaching assistant, a little bit about what first grade is like for your child every day. So let's start off with our agenda. I apologize for the microphone hanging from my ears, but in all my videos over the past year, the best way for anyone to be able to hear me is when I attach a mic to my computer. So it doesn't look pretty, but it's effective. All right, so here's what we're going to do today. First, I'm going to introduce myself and Mrs. Edmondson, talk about the curriculum, a little bit about classroom management, and some odds and ends, which will definitely include homework. All right, so I'm Miss Reinhardt. My first name is Julie. I was born and raised in the great state of Iowa. I'm very happy to be a Midwesterner. I moved from Chicago this summer, and I've lived there since I graduated from college. I had a little hiatus here for 2 years back in the early I'd say late 2008, and ever since then I've been back in Chicago. But I'm back. I'm happy to be here. I'm excited to be at St. Gabe's, and I hope to get to know you all a little bit better. So some more things about me. I have my Bachelor's of Science in Elementary Education, and I got that from Iowa State University. Go Cyclones. I have my Master's of Education in Educational Technology, so I really like to use technology with your kids, and we'll get to that point hopefully in the next few months. I've been teaching for 26 years. I'm starting my 27th year this year, and I've taught a variety of grades everywhere from 1st through 8th grade. And some things about me that I really love my family. I'm the oldest of 3 girls. I have some really great friends. Most of them are in Chicago, so I am missing them. I like to bake, like my sweets, and I have a little kitty. Her name's Gidget, and she's awesome. I love football. I prefer college to pro, but if you're going to ask me about pros, I have to say I'm a Bears fan. But my Cyclones, we are in the top 10 so far in the AP poll. Can't wait for the first game this weekend. And one last thing, I really like the Cubs. It's kind of sad not to have a local baseball team here, but maybe I'll have to become a fan of the AAA team that happens to be for the White Sox here. Here's some pictures of me. This is Gidgy. I call her Gidgy. And Chicago, it looks really beautiful at night. This is my husband. His name's Steve. And we've been married for, in December, 19 years. Iowa State, and of course, the Bears. Now, Mrs. Edmondson, she is our teaching assistant, and she was born and raised in Sri Lanka, but she's lived in Charlotte for the past 24 years. And she went to Appalachian State and got a degree in accounting. So she's worked in finance for 15 years, but she started this year at St. Gabe's. You know, she wanted to get away from behind the desk and be more part of her child's life, Colton, who is a 3rd grader, and she loves to read, to go hiking, and she is in for a good workout, and she loves to take trips to the beach. She'll be around helping us out this entire school year. I have some pictures of her. This is Miss Edmondson and her husband and her son, her kitty and her doggie. And yes, they love to go to the beach. Personally, this is my philosophy of teaching. I feel like the best thing you can do is teach the entire child. You can't just teach math or reading or writing, but you have to teach them the boys and the girls to be confident, to have empathy for each other, to become independent. Big thing is to let them know that they should struggle. That's the only way you're going to learn. If everything comes easy, at some point, there's going to be a struggle. And we'd rather it happen now in 1st grade than when they're in 5th grade or 6th grade and all of a sudden things get too hard and they don't know how to handle it. So I'm going to praise their effort. I'm going to praise their work ethic and also praise their accomplishments and their achievements. But more important is that effort. So if you can support that at home, try your hardest, do your best You learn the most when you get something wrong, because then you can go over it with me, Miss Edmondson, or with you, and figure out what you're missing, and you can develop that skill more fully. Life in first grade. This is a basic schedule. There's some changes here or there because there is one day that we have a special in the morning. But generally, we arrive and there's morning work on their desk. Prayer starts at about 7:45. The music will play and we'll say prayer. We have morning meeting, lasts about 15 minutes. We go through the calendar, talk about our schedule. We read our memory verse. Somebody counts how many days we've been in class. We have math. Try and do that first thing in the morning if we can. Then we have snack and read it aloud. And all those emails where I said our classroom book of the day, we do that during read aloud. Then we do our reading skills and phonics and spelling and some kind of writing. We try to do all those in the morning. We have recess and lunch. Usually after lunch, we have a special. We try to do religion, science, and social studies, one or the other every day. And then we have what we like to call ketchup and pickles. And we don't always get there every day, but it is time for your child to finish anything they haven't completed, whether it was the day before or the week before, or if they have turned in everything, it is time for them to free draw, to just relax and to be them. Then we pack up. Usually takes us about 15 minutes to get packed up, make sure we have everything. And then dismissal starts at 2:20. Our curriculum consists of the following things: language arts, which is reading, phonics, spelling, or word study, and writing, math, religion, science, and social studies. We have special area classes as well. We have the following. One thing that's a little bit different, you may not know, library is every other week, and technology flips with it. So on our E-Day, one week we'll have library, and the next week we will have technology. We also have PE twice, once in the morning, one day, and after lunch, one other day. And STEM will start after Labor Day. So word study. I like to think of word study as making your child a lifelong speller and getting them to apply everything they're doing to their writing, everyday writing, whether it is writing something for me or writing something for you, a letter to a grandparent, an email, if they write emails. But applying the spelling skills we learn, the patterns, to these everyday writing. They will have high frequency words, the words like and the, that they should be able to spell correctly, even at this point. You will be receiving these words throughout the year as reminders. We do something called pocket poems, and they follow a spelling pattern. You saw Mrs. Pratt come home the other day. So that was all the short A sound, and they had to circle the words with the short A sound. And we will do a different pocket poem every week to follow the spelling pattern that we are using. So we're trying to take our words in context, so the words that you're seeing are found in our stories that we are reading. And we go over them all the time, whether it's in spelling time, whether it's in morning meeting time, whether it's in reading time. They have seen these words over and over again. And beginning next week when we do homework, you will have the opportunity to help them with some of these words as well. So reading, we use a series called Into Reading. This is an example of one of my books. We have several. When we finish one, we'll have another one. We are going to use the Daily 5 approach. Read to self, which is what we've been working on. And I know I've sent some pictures in the past of the kids sitting in their reading spot with their book bins. And they have 3 books that they are currently reading. And they might be at the stage of the book where they are reading the pictures. And that's okay. They can read the pictures to tell me the story. They might be reading some of the words and then some of the pictures to be able to tell the story. And some of the books, they'll be able to read the whole entire thing. But they'll be able to switch out their books as they need to. But the goal is, when you're doing read to self, the whole entire time, you need to sit in your spot and you need to read, not be a distraction to your classmates. So we've gotten as far as 4 minutes and 46 seconds. And I believe I said our goal was to get to 10 minutes by Halloween. So we're going to keep working on that. As we get better at that, we're going to introduce read to someone. So they'll partner up and they'll take turn reading maybe something from our series or one of the leveled books we have to each other. Take turns. I read some, you read some. Listening to reading. I have a bunch of QR codes that we're going to scan once you get our technology out to us, that they can listen to stories being read to them. Word work could be spelling at the same time, or it could be grammar. And working on writing, most of the time, the writing will be done during writing time, but there's a chance that your child could be doing even more writing during reading time. So some suggestions for you at home. Please read every night. I have a slide at the end that shows how important it is to read every night, how many words that you can get if you read 20 minutes a day versus the child who does not read at all. Now, we're also going to have assigned stories. Usually get those on Tuesday or Wednesday, and they will be in the HMH portal. You'll use the clever code to access it. That information will come home in the blue folder on Thursday or Friday. I'm going to try for Thursday. One thing you might see up here, World Read Aloud Day. That is February 2nd, 2022, and I do not know what it will be like then, if we'll still be in the middle of this pandemic and you won't be allowed in school. But keep that day open. I'm going to see if I can invite in some guest readers to read to their children for that very special day. But I hope we get to do it. It is so much fun, and you will enjoy coming in and sharing your favorite book, maybe when you were a kid, with your child. Writing. We're going to use a format for writing where we use Writer's Workshop. We have a mini lesson. It could be on capitalization. It could be exploding in the moment. Excuse me. And then we're going to break up to write. We'll have writing spots just like we have reading spots. We'll have writing utensils. They can write in a pen. They could maybe write in a colored pencil. Whatever will just get them excited about writing. And while the independent writing time is going, I will be having short, itty-bitty little mini conferences with your child. So the goal is to have one a week with every kid. Now, there are 27 of them, so it might be once every week, but my goal will be once a week. We are going to use 3 different types of writing. We're going to write narratives, which are stories, informational writing, which is the nonfiction piece, and opinion. Why is this? And they get to have their own opinion. So if you look in the box, there are some different types of these units. Small moments, personal narratives, something that happened to them, one little itty bit in time. So we talk about what's something that happened to you. I lost my tooth. Tell me about the moment you lost your tooth. Not first it got wiggly and then 4 days later you lost a tooth. I want about that one moment. Or when you skinned your knee, tell me about when you actually fell. Not all the things that were happening before and after. Fiction stories about anything with any characters. Some how-to books. We're going to write poetry. Poetry is so much fun. And then we're going to write some nonfiction this year too. My suggestion for you at home is to, when you do writing, your child needs to write for a purpose. So some suggestions are to write letters. Grandma and Grandma would love to read a letter from your child. They could help with the grocery list. They could write a thank you note for any of the gifts they've received for their birthday, Christmas. And sometimes it's just right. It's the right idea to write for fun. And they could write whatever they want. But the more often they write, the better writers they get to be. Math. I love math. And we're using the same series as we do for reading. It's called Into Math. It's by Hoot and Mifflin. And these are our main topics. We're doing addition and subtraction. Talk about place value. That is going to be very hard. Understanding that ones become tens, which become hundreds. That's a hard skill. 2-digit addition and subtraction, that's where the place value is going to come in. We're going to talk about geometry. That kids usually have a fun time with geometry. And we're going to do measurement, and that will include time. One of the other things we're doing is working on fact fluency. Starting this week, you may have seen in the folder, I sent home Monday's Math Mania. So this week we're working on +0. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all the addition facts are +0. Anything from 0 + 0 all the way through +12 + 0. And I give the kids 5 minutes at the beginning of math time to complete those 25 problems. Each day, the goal is to get a little bit faster and more correct. Now, if you maybe got them all finished the first time, it's to get faster if they're all correct. If you maybe missed 2 or 3, next time the goal is to get them all correct. Next week, it'll be +1, and it'll keep going on for there. And then we do subtraction. Now, the thing is, after January, the time changes from 5 minutes to 2.5 minutes. So we're expecting the speed of completion to increase. Statistics and general thought says for your child to have mastered a fact, they need to be able to say and or write the answer in 4 seconds or less. So if you're watching them and they're doing 3 plus 3 and you see them counting on their fingers, that is not mastery. It should be automatically, and no number lines, no fingers. So if they're counting in their heads because they're trying not to use their fingers, that is not fluency with the math facts. But there's a stage where you become more fluent, but you have to practice first. You still have to learn them. And maybe it is counting 1, 2, 3 with your fingers until that is ingrained and becomes automatic. Science and social studies, we switch back and forth with science and social studies. We don't do either one every single day. We have some general units for science and social studies: plants and animals, weather and seasons, the magnets, space, and force. Social studies is our school community. Geography, the United States, being good citizens, and economics. We are currently doing the 5 senses, so animals, because we're animals, and talking about school community. At home, some suggestions for making some science available is to visit a museum. It could be the local museums. Maybe when you're on a vacation, your child could learn a lot of things there. And this is important. Discuss kid-friendly current events. I know there's so much going on out there that no child should have to experience. But maybe there's something that someone did. Like, remember Amanda Gorman when she gave her speech at the inauguration. That's something you could talk about with your child. You may not agree with some of the things you see on TV, but your child might need to know about them. And it's okay to share your opinion, but let them also know what's going on if it's kid-friendly. Religion. We try and do some kind of religion every day. We do prayer morning, before lunch, in the afternoon. If we don't get it before lunch, we try to do it after lunch. We do a memory verse every week. The child has to memorize a Bible verse, and we practice it in the morning. We close our eyes. We practice reading, and we are going to do the same thing we did with Sister Pratt with the memory verses, where they have to write it in their very best handwriting and draw a picture that shows what it means. And we did our first one this week. Weekly Mass. Starting in October, first grade will be attending Mass. It was nice to be able to let them get used to school before we go and try and sit in Mass, because we are not that good at sitting still, and sitting still for 40 minutes without being tempted by a classmate is very difficult. So this allows us to get more in the routine of school, make sure behavior is appropriate before we head over to Mass in October. Homework. Now, this is probably what you've all been waiting for. Starting next week, the goal is to send home homework. You will receive the homework sheet on Mondays. I want you to know a few things before we go through each part of them. If your child's having difficulty, just stop, okay? Draw a line under, initial it, say, this is as far as we got. Then it's my job to help. I will take care of it from there. Do what you can do. I don't want it to become a battle with you and your child. You have to be mom and dad, and you have to live with them. I get to send them home to you every day. So if they get mad at me, I still get to send them home. So I'll fight that battle, that homework battle. So what if homework's not turned in? Is it because they didn't complete it? Did it get left at home? Did it not get taken home? There's all kinds of different reasons. If it's consistent, that's when you and I will connect. If it's once here or there, I will remind them. Maybe I'll pull out an extra sheet for them to do during the day, but we'll leave it at that. If it becomes every single day, then we need to take care of it, and you and I will find a way to make it work. Here's our goal. Up to 15 minutes a night, not more, but that does not include your nightly reading from your book of choice. So homework, which is your fluency, your reading assignment possibly, and math. Then before bed, I recommend reading at least 15 minutes. That could be mom reading, could be dad reading, it could be the child reading to him or herself, or to you taking turns with your child. I always loved to be read to when I was little, and your kids love to be read to too. So please read to them. And this is something special for 1E. We are going to have a no homework night. It's the first Wednesday of each month. So there'll be a few of them throughout the year. We call it family night. And instead of homework, the goal is for you to do something with your family. Play a board game, watch a movie, go out to dinner. But it's the first Wednesday of each month is no homework night. It is family night. So let's go through what the homework will look like. This sheet, I know it looks very small, but we're going to go into each piece. This will come out on Monday. It will be for 1 week at a time. It will look very similar to this every single week. On one side will be this, and let's start at the beginning. So first grade skills and assignments. This is the one that if you received it on Monday, it would have been for the current week we're in. So it tells us our phonics and spelling skill, which is one syllable words, as in big, pig, dip, and short I. So it's the I sound. So consonant, vowel, consonant. You'll see CVC written a lot. Sometimes I'll send videos. If your child was absent, you'll see that consonant, vowel, consonant pattern. Our grammar is verbs, so words that show action. Work on those. Addition strategies is the math concept we're working on. We're doing counting on, and we're doing doubles plus one. Then the math facts is the fluency I spoke about, and that was 5 minutes. What we're learning in religion is about that God loves us. We read 2 major stories, Dan Had a Plan and Big Dilly's Tale. We did small group with Big Dilly's Tale and Dan Had a Plan. We've read several times. Dan Had a Plan happens to be the one that we are going to have some kind of a comprehension test for. You will receive that information in the homework, which one that they will read at home in addition to reading at class. And you'll know that is the one that we will be having our comprehension tests on. Our school workers, we've written thank you notes to the people at school who help us. And we're talking about science and scientists and the 5 senses currently in science. So the top part of this sheet is always the basic information about what is happening in each subject. Right below that is the more specifics, what we're going to do on each day. So at the top, it says seesaw activity to be completed by Thursday evening. So in the beginning of the week, we'll assign a seesaw activity. You have until Thursday night to finish it. You choose the day that works best into your schedule. On Monday, the recommended work would have been complete pages 7 and 8. That is a homework sheet that will be torn out and put in the blue folder. Practice your fluency skills, which will be on the back, and we'll go through that again, and to read a book of your choice. On Tuesday, the next topic in math, page 9 and 10 from the homework. Practice on your fluency skills again. You could do that every day. Read Dan Had a Plan, and that will be assigned to you in HMH. You will use your clever code or your login, which will come home tomorrow on Thursday or Friday. To get into HMH, hopefully it'll be familiar to you, because if you're in kindergarten, you would have used it last year. Wednesday, the next math part, pages 11 and 12. Then fluency again. Also, read a book of your choice. Thursday, the next math topic. Work on your fluency again and read a book of your choice. So 3 of the 4 days are your choice of a book. One of those days, we're asking you to read the story we're reading in class before we do our comprehension test. Over on this side here, you'll see where it says phonics and spelling skills. The words in red are words that your child must know how to spell. And we will provide you with those on Monday. The rest of the words, the other 7 on this, are short I words. So for example, the first word is big. Now your child won't know that, but they should be able to hear the b, I, g when I say it. And I'll say, first word number 3 is big. The horse was big. So listen to me say the word big. How do you spell it? Big. Big. Say it to yourself and spell big. And then we'll go with the next short, but it is all short I sounds. We have words to know each week as well. Our words that are in red are on our words to know list that you are required to be able to spell. So some additional words to know are little, find, for, one, to, and by. And those are words that we will put on our word wall. And as they're being used in their writing, that they should start knowing how to spell. They can go back to the word wall and find it. And if you want to say, I want to write about a little boy, how do you spell little? That's when I'm going to go back and look at the word wall. And they will go back and they'll hopefully find the word. So homework is Monday through Thursday. No homework on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Here's the example of our memory verse. This is this week's. And it comes from Luke, I believe. I didn't write that down. I apologize. Whoever loves me will keep my word, and my Father will love him. We will keep working on memorizing that. Sometimes I might ask them to say it aloud for me, and I'll just mark it off for their religion score. Sometimes we'll do it as a group, and I'll see who is actually participating. So you'll have this on your homework sheet, and you can practice this with your child throughout the week. At the bottom, there are always some friendly reminders. As I had sent in the email, we have gym on Monday and Wednesday. Parent night back to school is watch your email for a video link. So if you've gotten this, I would say watch for your video link. And we don't have school on Monday, September 6th. So we have a reminder section. You have your newsletter that comes out on Sunday each week and all the information on one sheet. Now, on the back side of your homework sheet, you're going to have the fluency. The blue is one part and the red is another. This takes 2 minutes, but should be completed every day. You'll start your timer and you're going to ask your child to read each of these words. So I'll start my timer. Tick, did, big, just, one, was, sit. And you're going to count how many they got correct, write the date, and if I missed one, I'd write 17 out of 18. Then you'll do that on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Then the next minute, you're going to work on the sentences. And you're going to read for a minute. So click start. Dan had the big lid. Did the Pip hit the cat? So I'm reading, and I said Pip instead of pig. That's not right. So we can't count that word. But what's going to happen is the timer's going to go off, and maybe I got to the word did in number 5. If I got all the way to dig correctly, that would be 23 words. I didn't get all the way to dig. I only got to did. So that's 22 words. So I would write 22 next to the number 40. My date, that Monday, they only have a minute. This is 2 minutes. And then you work on it the next day. Please let me know if you have questions about that. I will practice this with the kids this week so you make sure that you know what to do. They will have at least experienced it once. Here's that slide I was telling you about for reading. This came from research, and it's old research. So you might even find that kids read more words now. But 3 different students, one reads for 20 minutes a day, one for 5, and one for 1. If they do that through the entire school year, the kid with 20 minutes a day reads for 3,600 minutes. The kid with only 1 minute a day, 180. Look at these images. How many words does your kid read in 1 year if you read 20 minutes a day? 1 million words, but only 8,000 words if you read for 1 minute a day. And the research says that By the end of 6th grade, starting now, student A will have read 60 whole school days. That's how much reading they will have completed. But student B, 12. Just that much difference a day. You can also see that the vocabulary is going to be more increased because you'll be exposed to more words. Book reading doesn't mean the kid has to read everything themselves. More challenging book can be read by you to your child. They can be exposed to more intricate vocabulary that they might not be able to read themselves because you are reading to them. Picture books, you'd be surprised, have great vocabulary in them. It doesn't have to be a novel. It doesn't have to be Harry Potter. We read Potato Pants today, and it has some great words. Tater trousers. And they didn't know, we don't always know what trousers are. And what's a tater? Oh, it's a way of saying potato. Those are two words they may not have been familiar with. So picture books have great vocabulary. Mo Williams, great vocabulary, except for the Pigeon Bucks. He has some other great books that have great vocabulary. Classroom management. This is something that we'll work on for the entire year. I have the thought of logical consequences, which I've already written to you. So if you're running with scissors, we're going to take the scissors away and talk about why that's inappropriate. If you are goofing around when you're supposed to be reading and having fun at that time, when the rest of the class is having fun, you will not be participating. So your action should go directly with what your consequence is. I will remind several times before we go as far as a consequence. At a certain point, if the verbal reminders and the consequences don't work, I might be calling you, I might be emailing you and asking for some reinforcement at home. Then we will keep in communication and tell you how it's going after you've spoken to your child and if they are following through at school. Individually, we will have sticker charts. Right now, they are gumball machines. And once you've filled up the 10 gumballs, you get to choose from the treasure chest. And so far, we've had 3 students choose things from the treasure chest. We have whole class rewards. These are the things I'm looking for. Silently seated, being thoughtful, being attentive, and being respectful. So star. And then we're also looking for how we walk in the halls. And we've been really focusing on the hallways right now so that we don't disrupt the other people in class. Every time we do what we're supposed to do, we get to put a marble in our jar. And once we fill the jar, we get a class reward, some kind of class party. Some odds and ends. Standardized testing will be the first week in October. If you are picking your child up early, I ask that you email me before 11 if you can, and you must add the changes to School Pass. I can't do that for you. Absences, and I appreciate those of you who have already let me know that your child will be gone on Friday. Please let me know in advance, and also email Nurse Smith, let them know that your child will be absent, and then we can get things together or decide if we'll do it after they come back. And I also am curious, is there an older sibling at school that if your child is homesick, I can send work home with? So if you have an older brother or sister at St. Gabe's that I could send books home with, please let me know. If not, I can scan and email things directly to you. Healthy snacks. This is one thing I spoke to the kids about today. Healthy snacks doesn't mean potato chips or donuts or candy. So please send some vegetables, send some meat, some protein, a banana, fruit with them. Several chips today. It would be best if we didn't have chips. Crackers, great, but chips are probably not our best option. Our uniforms, we do have picture day on Thursday next week, September 9th, and I sent those forms home. Please send your child in their formal uniform for that. And whenever we have Mass starting October, your child will be wearing their formal uniform unless we happen to have PE that day. And we hope, cross your fingers, that we will be having some field trips this year. We have 2 scheduled at this point. The Children's Theater is coming to school in March, and we are going to the Mint Museum in May. There are 3 others in the works. We just do not have firm dates for them yet. And assuming that the city of Charlotte and Mecklenburg County let us go do these places, we will have 5 field trips this year. So that's all that I have for you for today. I'll be sending home information, the ABCs of 1E, as well as logins for HMH and Clever, and some information about what a first grader should be able to do at this point, as well as any homework that will be coming up. So the homework will be coming on Monday. I know I talked a lot and I talked very fast. If you have any questions, please email me. I'm happy to call you. I'm happy to email back, meet with you if you really would like to meet with me. I appreciate your feedback. I hope this has been helpful. I hope you have a wonderful Labor Day weekend.